I call to order this meeting of the Berlin Cultural Council at 7:52 p.m. on the 22nd of August, 2024. And this is an open session public meeting, and it's subject to being recorded, so your image and voice will be out there. And since anticipating possible later not coming, I wrote in the agenda that I might take things out of order. So we'll start with the minutes. I sent those around again because Jess had sent them around to us at the time, and they're like, you know what, you might want to look at them. But do we have any discussion on the minutes?
No, I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes are passed. So the next order of business is the treasurer's report.
Okay, so I know there's a lot of money there. The first bunch is last year's fiscal year funds, and they were all accounted for. We have $1,500, they were all accounted for as listed. The only thing that strayed from the original way we were gonna account for it was that we had to break the link payment in two places. It doesn't really change anything, it's
Yeah.
just if you were looking at Link and said, ooh, we did grant them more than $450,
Yeah.
yes, we did, but if you look further down, we took the rest of it from MCC, and that was due to the fact that the, which one was it? Oh, the Japanese folktales had to be rescheduled due to the town meeting.
Yeah.
So that is all zeroed out for fiscal year '24. Our last year's MCC funds ended up being accounted for as follows. When we went in on November 8th, we still had $847.83. We bought some, we had postage to send out the acceptance letters. We needed to buy some pencils for the reviews of the different programs. And then we also had a whopping $1.24 of interest to add into our account from July to December of 2023. So in that money, we hold out the interest that we've been accumulating for as long as I've been
Yeah.
before. And that is right now at $202.42. We're allowed to hold, I believe it's, I wanna say, is it 5%? Can't remember the exact percentage. We're allowed to hold a certain amount of our funds that the MCC gives us for administrative funds for buying things. And we never buy very much, so
Yeah.
it just kind of accumulates. So that amount is at $210.26 because that's where I took the pencils and the postage from. So that left us the $400 rollover that we had for the senior program that didn't run. We rolled it over to the FY '24 funds, which then gave us a total of $5,900. The grants that have been paid so far are listed. I submitted the Virginia Thurston Healing Garden the other day, and then I've listed all the ones that we have encumbered funds for, which zeroes us out.
Okay.
Okay, so everything's accounted for, and then I did just, as you know, send in that pop-up art school one, so that'll change slightly. We have not seen interest from January 2024 to July 2024 on our MCC account because of the problem, whatever's going on in the accountant office with her. She said something about not being able to deposit funds or something going on with the program, I guess. And then we have been granted the FY '25 funds for the next cycle of $1,500, and that is in our our BCC account now.
Okay,
Okay, so that is showing.
okay. Any questions on that? Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Okay, so skipping ahead, so we have to finalize the grant guidelines before the first of the month,
I
since
think we
that.
have to accept what I wrote first,
Oh.
right? I just couldn't say, I don't think I'm allowed to.
Yeah, I'm
the
not even
motion.
sure, I have always done motions for that, I'm not sure if we need, but do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
I will second that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Put that in minutes. Yeah, so before, the first of the month, we have to, make any updates on our, council priorities for the year. Obviously, there will be a change in, saying 2023 to 2024, and I did apparently goof last year, and it, I think, been copied over the years, or copied from, our site or whatever, so it's somehow managed to have a section 1 and a section 3 and not a section 2, so I will
You'll
fix that detail.
Okay.
And,
We haven't strayed much.
Two things that, the MCC has sent out in emails. One is we are now able to fund food if we want to.
I saw that, yeah,
So-
interesting.
So I will have to read through this to see if we had anything mentioning that not
I wonder
being
if
the
that
case,
came from
but,
the Haitian thing. I didn't even think about that Haitian food thing.
yeah. I didn't think about it either, cause it was just so much. One of the grant requests we got last year was one that was asking for $1,700 for a Haitian food festival that was taking place at the various college campuses in the state, which we generally try to fund things that are more local, if not Berlin itself, then, things like the Healing Garden, or, about the furthest afield we get is, we did put some money towards the Fitchburg Art Museum's, craft fair, since some Berlin people participate in that, but also 1,700 of what they were asking just for us, so that was a big
A lot of money. A
But-
third of what we have.
But yeah, and those emails also said that they suggested that grants be for at least $250, given the rising costs, and generally speaking, I think the only times where we have not done that much is when it's really something that we just didn't feel we were in a good position to support, but we wanted to make a token gesture of support.
Yes.
So I don't anticipate that guidance likely changing anything we do.
No, because the only time we've given smaller amounts of money is like Fitchburg Art Museum. I think we gave $250
Yeah.
to, and Neshoba, the symphonic band, same thing. Just because they go after so many different people that
Yeah,
you want to support them a little bit, but
yeah. But I figured I'd pass that along, but, I mean, I don't imagine there's anything else significant to change about this. I mean,
I saw two things I want to
yeah,
talk about. In section 4,
okay,
there's a part that says applicants are sent a reimbursement form.
yeah,
We stopped doing that ages ago.
okay,
They just get their reimbursement form right off of the
okay,
website. So I I think we should remove that.
Yeah, I
because
can delete
we
that
shouldn't be
sentence.
sending the requestment forms, say something like requestment forms can be found on the MCC website.
Yeah,
So I think that has to be changed. And then there was one that I've never even noticed, and I didn't write down where I saw that, but somewhere in it, it was stated that it's requested that the BCC is notified 2 weeks before a program runs. Has anyone ever notified us that a program is gonna run in a couple of weeks?
we do occasionally get emails saying that something is happening soon, you know, thanks for funding us, you know, be great if someone shows up from the council to be able to thank them, and when I do get a chance to answer those, we're all busy and I don't,
So maybe instead of it's requested, it's appreciated,
yeah, yeah, that's probably
instead of requested.
It's under section 4.
Yeah.
That's funding, under.
Yeah,
funding.
yeah, the first paragraph, last sentence, so yeah, I appreciated would, you know, be, I think a better choice of words.
Yeah, I guess I never really noticed it because I don't monitor the email.
Yeah. But, I think maybe given the fact that they have made the guidance at the state level encouraging grants to be at least 250, that perhaps I will change the awards typically range from 150 to 1,000 to just say 250 to 1,000, because it's still typically not lower, it's just sometimes
Yeah.
lower.
Yeah, good idea.
But I don't think, you know, the results of our survey and such, I don't think they have provided any thing that we would wanna change what we're saying as programs we're trying to fund, you know, I think it's all been pretty standard year after year, what people seem to want and what we throw money at. You know, the only exception, you know, being that, you know, sometimes we do get programs that are more novel than what we're used to getting, and I think we've generally tried to look at those more favorably, just, okay, someone's doing something different, you know, whether we think it's a great idea or not, just the idea of, okay, we've been funding this and this a lot, so, you know, things like, that equestrian thing.
Yeah, it was very different.
Yeah, so, but, yeah, so I don't have anything else on that I think needs changing. I will proofread it again before submitting it, just in case I find other errors like that failure to have section 2 exist. There may be something picayune like that I
Usually you have to look over things a few different times.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're repeating the same things year after year, it kind of doesn't always encourage comprehending the words as much as you intended to.
If this is what you're gonna submit, there is, under the application process, did you wanna change the date? It says October 17th.
Yeah, so that's,
2024.
I think,
Is that
the
right?
16th and yeah, so I will, that I know.
So what is it, the Monday after Columbus Day, is that traditionally the?
I think it's usually been that, but I think I saw the 16th as date, and I think the 16th, I looked that up, and that was a Wednesday, so. Hold
So
on.
maybe just mid-October.
Yeah. Well, I think it's usually hovered around like 16th, 17th. I don't think it's been 15th anytime recently, but the years do kind of blur together. Hold on, I have that email. I have that. So yeah, the 16th is the deadline, so.
Okay.
And kind of on a related note, I think the past couple of years we just advertised on Facebook. I don't think we've really kept up with trying to get it in the paper. Do we care about getting it in the paper, or do you think just putting something on?
I mean, do they still print newspapers?
The Clinton item is still
Clinton item.
printed, you know. It is a weekly. It does have, you know, some notices about activities and such in there, but I'm not sure that's necessarily worth it. I mean, we can contact them. I'm not sure if there's any fee or not to post anything.
Yeah, I mean, everything is all online right now. I don't know if it's necessary.
I mean, I personally lean towards just doing it on Berlin Neighbors Connect. I mean, generally speaking, the people who are approaching us for grants are people who, this is their thing and they do it, you know,
Yeah,
so it's
they're
not,
aware of it.
it's not like this is something that really, I think, generates grant proposals that would not exist otherwise, but.
Can we put it on the town website? Can we ask them to put it on the town website as a notice? Cause then,
Do we have a page?
Yeah, we have a page that we were trying to get them to update, and that didn't happen, which is another thing so I may have mentioned this, previous meeting, our webpage was outdated and still had things from when we accepted paper applications, which we hadn't really worried about updating too much because we were dealing with all the stuff online, so we were updating. And we did get from Tohoto a paper application that we were not able to consider. Not one I think we likely would have funded. It was asking for money for advertising for something which, while that was within the scope of what we could approve had it come online, I think we weren't really keen to, I think it was like over $1,000 too they were looking for on that, and
A lot of money.
that's a lot of money to advertise your
Yeah.
program. But so, you know, been trying to make getting the page updated, and so I think in June I sent an email to the town administrator and the administrative assistant, because I had finally found out they were the ones who acted as webmasters, but this was also right after all the fun with town meeting and the school budget, and we weren't in any particular rush to get it changed, because it doesn't really matter until the grant cycle, but that's coming up, so I was intending to nudge about that when I email my resignation and information that we have a new chair and such, so
Yeah,
I
this is
can.
2019.
So I can also ask that we get the notice that the applications are gonna, that people can apply. I can include that in my final communications with with the town administrator. And I will actually get on putting it on Facebook, say, you know, by Tuesday, so that I can do it, and it's actually coming from me on the committee instead of not on it. Okay, so.
Yeah, this is all so old. Oh my God, 2012.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There's also, in past, one of our members was kind of our person for dealing with web stuff, and I didn't want to step over her to try to
Yeah.
deal with those sorts of
We'll
things.
have to get that all straightened out
But-
once Chris takes over.
But we'll, yes. So, so anything else to be said about the priorities, or am I good to take what we've discussed here and fix it appropriately? Okay.
I move we accept the changes that we put forward.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, let me just, going to be short minutes for this meeting, but I don't want to lose my train of thought on it, since I really should get it to you, before Tuesday. Okay, so that leaves the only items left on the agenda are the council roles and discussing future meeting times. So, you guys will next want to meet probably sometime in November before Thanksgiving. I can set up a time, if you want to come up with a meeting time for doing that, I could, set it up in the system.
When did you say?
Sometime in November before Thanksgiving. So since the applications go through mid-October, then by sometime mid-November, you'll have time to have gotten all of that and read all of that. So we usually have one meeting to discuss which ones we're going to approve and decline, because the ones that we don't deal with the money that meeting, because those that are declined have the ability to request reevaluation within 2 weeks. So we have to have that 2 weeks before we dispense all the money, else we in theory could have one where you reconsidered and have to have money for that.
Yes, so the denial letters have to be sent out to the ones that we know we're not gonna fund.
Which in my time, and I believe your time as well, we've never had anyone request reconsideration, so so we generally would have one meeting in November to just figure out which ones to approve and not, and then a meeting in December to then deal with the money, then tend to have like a meeting in January for approving our section of the town report and such.
Yeah, and we have to, with the financial end of it, I have to have a whole financial report done mid-October.
Yeah.
Right before we get the funding stuff down, so I would suggest we plan on meeting the beginning of November. If
Okay.
we can, for the first, just look through and decide what we're gonna do and not do, so we can get the letters out, because it's easier if we can get the 2-week period done before the end of December, then they'll turn the money over to you in January, and we're off and running. So if we can do it a little bit on the, I don't know if I made sense, but if we
Yeah,
can do it
yeah.
a little bit on the earlier side, like the next meeting should be the beginning of November to discuss the grants and decide which ones we are going to fund and which ones we're not gonna fund. Then give time for the letters to be written, because the letters all have to be written and then
Yeah.
posted, and then 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that would take us into December. We could meet again to determine the money,
Yeah.
and then you have to send the letters to everybody that's being accepted at that point, in December, once you've done the money. And then I can do the financial report for the end of December, beginning of January, and money
Yeah.
comes right in.
Okay, so if you want, so, do you think you'll wanna keep the same meeting day and time?
I don't have any restrictions really as to, I'm pretty flexible. I don't like meeting this late.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's
But-
hard, that's hard for me is
Yeah,
it's
well,
late. That's the only.
yeah, part of the reason I did because with the last meeting, Chris had said he couldn't come till after 8, and it's been a bitch trying to get him to respond to emails. I was trying to make it a little more easy in case he arrived late and such, so that's why I made it 7:45. Also, as far as your future meetings, well, I intend to show up as a guest. You no longer have to worry about me getting out of work at 7, for scheduling meetings, 'cause
Yeah, and I understand that, and I
Yeah.
don't meet that much, that it's a huge
Yeah.
burden on me, that's for sure. But if it can be easier, but again, if Chris's schedule is such that he's not getting out of work until
Yeah.
late either, we're gonna have
Well,
to look at that.
Yeah, so that's the thing, I don't get the sense that a different day of the week is gonna be any easier for Chris or Sandra, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, if I set a meeting schedule, it can always be canceled and moved, so, it's nothing chiseled in stone, but I can set up the next I could set up the next 3, but, we've generally not been a committee who has tried to set up all our meeting days for the year. We kind of just have taken them one at a time, but, so, if Thursday is the day you think you'd want to remain with,
Thursday's fine.
the 7th of November is a Thursday.
Okay. Maybe.
So would you like me to schedule a meeting in the system for the 7th of November?
Sure.
Why not?
Is there a time you would like that you think would, in theory, work? And
If-
I'm good with whatever, but definitely not 8 o'clock.
So, I think that's gonna ride on Chris at this point.
Yeah.
In terms of, if we can shoot for 7, like most
Yeah,
town meetings are at 7. So if
Okay.
we can shoot for 7, that's great, but if his schedule is such that he can't be here till 7:30, I'm fine with that.
yeah, well, I can set it up in the system at 7 o'clock, and I can make a reasonable agenda, and then, that can be changed, and we'll get him, with a power and just, get him set up with a password so he can log in and do that sort of stuff. That will be part of my emailing the town administrator.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do that. So
Alright,
I'll
so-
try to get all these little nuts and bolts done in the next few days.
Okay, so we're looking at November 7th is, we think,
Yeah.
will be our next thing to review all the grant things.
Okay.
Yeah, they have them turned over pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Usually within a week they're
Yeah.
available.
okay. Well, then, that leaves the only other item on the agenda, which I was going to start with, but holding out hope of, late attendance will end with the fact that you need a chair, treasurer, and a clerk, because your chair is gone on Tuesday, and our clerk is already gone. So, we pretty much already figured out, assuming we can make it work, that, Chris take over as chair. Would you potentially be willing to take over as clerk to do minutes for the meeting?
Take the minutes, sure.
Yeah, okay,
Well, I will stay on as treasurer.
okay,
Have to train somebody new
okay,
for a year.
okay. Yes. I'm reminded of quote from Louis XV, after me the deluge. So, hopefully that will not be the case after we're done. But, okay, so, well, I'm gonna make it, I move that we appoint, assuming he accepts, Chris Christensen Jr. as the new chair of the Cultural Council.
He did say he was interested,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, we just need to get him to respond to emails more and,
Okay.
get his schedule better in line, but I'll do my best to crack to respond that behind the scenes. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay,
Appoint Chris.
all those in favor of making Chris the new chair after Tuesday, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Do we have a motion to have Deborah as the treasurer?
I move that Deborah be the treasurer for the
I
following.
second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I move that Tracy be appointed secretary/clerk
Okay,
of the Cultural Council.
okay. I second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's, I think, all I've got. Yeah, I will have to catch up with Chris and make sure we're still good and find out whether Max is gonna join or not. We didn't get Chris on until, I think, September last year, so we were in the middle of the cycle. But if we don't have Max, we will wanna get someone I think so long as we get them before we're actually reviewing applications, it shouldn't matter so much. But I think it would be problematic if we had that vacancy any longer than that. Also, one of the reasons why I want to submit all the paperwork while I'm still chair is because, while I'm still on it, because when I submit it while I'm still on, we will have 5 members, and I can submit that we have 5
Mhm.
members.
Yes, you can.
But, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, and that is non-debatable. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting of the Berlin Cultural Council is adjourned at 8:25 p.m.